in a meeting, or perhaps you're having a conversation with individuals as a woman in leadership and you want it to speak in a more concise way. Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you, just very candidly, a couple strategies that can help you to learn how to speak more concisely when you're in your meetings and you're having conversation, etc. with everybody. Now, it's a bit of a different type of video for my channel. I'm testing this out because I did have a good response yesterday on it. And this is more of a me driving and just providing you all with some some insights that may help you during your day today in terms of how you can speak in a more concise way. So let me know in the comments below if you like this type of video. If you're new to my channel, well, welcome. Glad you're here today. You're more than likely watching the replay if you're watching this portion of the live video. And I appreciate you being here and spending some time with me this morning while I am driving on my way today to get started. And my channel specifically focuses on helping you communicate at a higher level than your peers. So if you're that type of leader that is at the point where you really want to stand out from everybody else, then you absolutely want to subscribe to the channel. I talk about advanced level communication strategies that are often not discussed when you're trying to enhance yourself as a leader. So my role here, really, my mission here is to help you become that person that people inspire to be like and want to learn more from by how you are communicating. I say on my channel often people become great by how they communicate. So my mission here on this earth is to help to unlock the greatness within you. And if you have any questions, let me know. But speaking concisely is a topic that is very, very, very important. And this is a live video. So what happens oftentimes in the lives is there's typically a point where people join the lives. Sorry, the sun is very bright today in the sunshine state of Florida. But people will join the lives. Just give me a few moments to say hello to them and welcome them. And I will go into the strategies that I want to share with today. So, why is speaking concisely so important? If you look at any world leaders that you maybe like to learn more from, or perhaps you like some of the things they do, or even people in your communities or at your businesses or etc., what draws you to them? A lot of times it's the way that they're communicating. And if they're communicating in a very concise way, it makes it easy to understand what they are saying. If you're not communicating in a concise way, people will start to tune you out and not listen to what you have to say. So when you are presenting yourself as a leader and you are the person that is truly leading your group or leading your team, you want to make sure you're speaking in a very concise way. So what are some things that you can do to do that? That's what I'm going to talk about here in this video. So I appreciate you all for joining today. Welcome, welcome. Let me know what part of this big, beautiful world you are joining from today. And if you have ever struggled with speaking concisely as a leader, let me know in the comments below. And I will absolutely provide you with some insights. Today, I'm going to be talking about ways you can speak more concisely as a leader that will help you on your journey. Now, I do want to say that being able to speak concisely is a hallmark of leadership. Leaders that ramble, it's just very difficult to understand what they are saying, and most of the times people tune them out, as I mentioned a few moments ago. Now, what I do want to say in terms of a strategy that will help you to be able to do a bit more as it relates to speaking more concisely is to plan ahead. Planning ahead is actually very important when you're trying to speak more concisely. And what happens often is when you're trying to speak concisely, or maybe you're in that meeting, you don't know what to say, or maybe perhaps your thoughts are a bit more jumbled in your mind, and you're not quite sure how can I say this in a very concise way to somewhat get to the point. Many times you may have not had the time to just think and take a few moments to plan your talking points. So that's really my first strategy, is to plan your talking points. Determine what is the most important thing that you need to talk about in this meeting, in this conversation, in this presentation, whatever the case may be. Because if you can narrow it down to at least the number one most important topic that you need to discuss, then that will help you automatically to start being more concise in terms of how you're communicating, because you're only talking about the main one thing that you need to talk about during your meeting or etc. So this is actually incredibly important in terms of being able to speak in a more concise way. Another strategy that I share with my clients in a one-on-one setting is that not only do you want to make sure that one, you are focusing in on at least the number one most important topic that you need to discuss, but the second part of it is that you will want to take some time and think about what words you're saying. I've seen it, and I just watched a video this morning actually where there is a influencer, and I don't want to necessarily say the name, but the influencer had a video that was talking about different aspects of businesses, metrics, and etc. that people were looking at. And the overall point of the message was very good, but there were some larger words that were used that did not flow with what was being said. You could tell in the video there was a point where the person just didn't know what they were saying, and that would be your infamous word salad. That is a very hot topic nowadays. People say word salad, word salad, word salad. You hear it a lot. I believe it came more, I would say, in the forefront, just from my perspective, when people would relate that term to Kamala Harris when she was speaking. That's the one of the first times I heard word salad. But anyways, how do you avoid having a word salad? You have to think about what it is that you want to say and how you want to say it. If you are thinking as a speaker and as a leader that you need to communicate in a way to where you have to say these big long words just to prove a point, to make you stand out from everybody else so that you look highly intelligent, you don't necessarily need to do that when you're trying to speak concisely, because what I've found that happens is that oftentimes people will try to throw in these larger words, which is nothing wrong with it, but you have to know the word and place it in the right context that people will understand what exactly it is you're saying. So I want to say hello to Demonstrous. Hello, welcome, welcome, friend. How you doing today? It's elementary, dear Watson, is what Demonstrous said. Yes, absolutely. It is elementary. You want to make sure that you're speaking in a concise way and using large words. There's a time and place for that. You just have to make sure you know how you're using the words in a sentence. If you're using the word just to sound like, wow, I said a really big word, then when you are actually saying it in a sentence, it makes no sense. And that's what I'm referring to that happened this morning when I was watching a video. The person was talking about something that was it was a very good topic, but the direction the conversation went into this short form video, it started talking about thinking and thinking process and thinking of this and thinking of that. And it just didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense. And when you're trying to speak more concisely, this is what you want to try to avoid. You want to try to avoid rambling. You want to try to avoid saying words that do not make sense in the context of what you're trying to say. Because when you say it, it makes no sense, and people are just wondering, well, what in the world are you talking about? So, for those of you who are just joining, I'm talking about how you can speak concisely, and I'm sharing with you over 20 years of experience of a individual that's been as a C-suite executive. I've been a director. I've managed many people. I have been in some very friendly situations, some contentious situations. I've interacted with congressional leaders over the years, and I've been in those situations where you've had to communicate in a very high level. And I've been a public speaker for over 20 years also. So speaking concisely is really important. So Demonstrous says we wish them well. Absolutely. So I appreciate that. Appreciate you being here. And let me know where you all are joining from in the big, beautiful world today. So we talked about a couple strategies, and if you're just joining, we were talking about strategies to help you speak more concisely today in your conversations you're having as leaders. So the first strategy, for those of you who just joined, for me to recap, is that you want to plan ahead. There's at least one topic that you want to focus in on during your conversation. This is how you speak in a concise way. If you have multiple things or multiple topics that you need to talk about in a meeting, setting as a leader, there's a strategy to that and still being concise. If you are struggling with that and you want to be more concise, then reach out to me in the description below. Sign up for a strategy session where we'll have a brief call and we'll talk about where you are, where you want to be, and how I can help you to speak more concisely as a leader. Now, planning ahead is really important. Second is being mindful of the words that you're using. Do not use words that are very overly complicated, that are not in direct alignment with what you're trying to say. It will just make you sound like you don't know what you're talking about. It will sound like a word salad, as people say nowadays. You don't want to do that. The third strategy I will share with you today in terms of speaking more concisely or how to speak concisely is to to practice. So if you practice trying to speak concisely, it's not one of those skills where you watch a lot of YouTube videos about it, even though I appreciate you all watching my video, of course. But it's not one of those situations where you just watch a YouTube video about it and you automatically just know how to speak concisely. You have to practice with anything in life. If you're trying to master a skill, you have to practice mastering the skill. And this is something that is incredibly important. The only way true mastery happens in any aspect of your life, whether you are trying to master how you present yourself as a leader, or maybe how you're going to that next level in your career, how you negotiate your salaries or go through interviews, or do presentations and meetings in front of board members, or etc. There has to come practice. You have to practice it in order to really get to that next level. Now, I do want to say that when you are practicing, make sure you're receiving some feedback from someone that knows what they're doing. Many times I've heard from my clients I talk to in a one-on-one setting that they're in the process, they're working with somebody or they work with individuals, and then they'll come back to me later and tell me, oh, this person just completely steered me in the wrong direction. I didn't know what was going on. So just be mindful of who you're listening to. Of course, there's a lot of information out there that can help you, but just be mindful of who you're listening to as it relates to being able to move forward in your career. Who you speak to and who you're receiving guidance from, who you're working with, is really, really important. So I hope that this information has been helpful to you all today. There's a lot of videos here on my live for those of you who maybe are new to me. I spend a lot of time on lives, and most of my live streams are Tuesday through Friday in the evening times. I'm just testing out the morning. I did it yesterday and I've done it today to see the response, to see if this is maybe a time that I may try to do a very bit more candid type of live with you all while I'm in transit. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know if this was helpful for you. And I have a couple of topics I'm gonna try to squeeze in before I finish with my commute in a few. So I hope y'all have an absolutely amazing day. And I will definitely be live a little bit later this evening if you have topics specifically you want to learn more about as it relates to being a leader, communicating at a higher level. We talk about a lot of things on my channel that are a lot of fun. And I'm really looking forward to being able to support you on your journey. I hope y'all have an amazing day. Bye for now.